Fine. So I'm very, very happy. So I will introduce myself so you get to know me a bit.
Cool.
So I am Mary Grace. I am 27 years old and I'm from Mauritius. Do you know Mauritius?
Oh, cool. Yes, I have a family member who's married to someone from Mauritius.
Wow, it's very rare for people to
Yeah.
know about Mauritius. It's so small.
It looks so beautiful, and
Yeah.
the food.
The
Great.
diversity,
Yeah.
Chinese food, Indian food, that's the best thing. It's like, I love Indian food. I love Indian culture. I love the spiciness.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So I created Sixpence in a Shoe and Blah Blah in a Shoe in order to share people's stories so we can inspire the people. And that's the reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because I saw your universe, your illustration, and I really wanted to share it with people because it's very, very, I think we need more of artists like you, for instance, showing their culture,
Okay.
the Black community. See, I think that's something very, very important for other kids. So they can see, okay, I can do that. You see, that's something it's very important for me to showcase our culture and everything. So that's why I wanted to have you share your art and everything.
Awesome.
Do you have
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important because like obviously growing up myself, I didn't think it was possible for anyone of color to be an illustrator because the only illustrators I know were white guys. So maybe Beatrix Potter, but like yeah, it's just white
yeah,
guys.
the
It's like,
lack of representation.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we can start.
Cool.
Tell us more about you, where you come from, your origins.
Well, London-based, London-born, proper Londoner. My family are Jamaican and Dominican
Wow.
on each other side. I have been illustrating for as long as I can remember. I'm really lucky because my mum is someone who encouraged it. A lot of parents don't seem to encourage the love of being like creative, and so I'm very lucky and I'm so happy let me draw for a living because it's not a thing. I went to uni to study illustration and graphics in Coventry University, and I didn't know what I wanted to do while I was there. I did a gap year to see if I wanted to be a graphic designer, which didn't work out for me because I don't really like the rules of graphic design. So graduated, had to get a job because that is the reality of illustration a lot of the time. You have to work alongside a job. And I ended up getting my first book deal in 2018 with Downton Bookworks. And my first book is A Black Woman Did That, where it's just, I think it's 43 now because Kamala Harris has now been added. 43 amazing Black women throughout history. And that started off my passion for children's book illustration. My great friend Dapo, and we ended up having a panel with Macmillan to talk about our first books together and how important it is to get Black British illustrators into the industry because there's not many that were getting scouted at the time. Now it's greatly improved, so it's somewhat working, which is fantastic to hear. And on that, I found out about a course called Pathways into Children's Book Publishing, and that allowed me to open up my world in terms of networking. I think I've met 12, the biggest 12 publishers in the UK. So I now have contacts with each of them, or they at least know who I am, which is fantastic because that's very hard to get by yourself. I did that for 2 years in COVID as well, yes. And from that, very recently, I think it's now a year that I have now become a full-time illustrator, and I have, I think, 5 books under my belt at the moment, which is great, and more to come. But it's been an amazing journey so far, and it's just gone really fast. It's just,
Wow.
like it snowballed. But yeah.
What did you enjoy the most through your journey? Like you said, like everything came like a snowball. How was it to, okay, now I am a full-time illustrator. How was that that path?
I mean, so I think the pandemic ruined it a little bit because it was unfortunately for everybody's lives. It was kind of the best year of my life it could have been because I was getting attention and like I got an agent in that time and everything, but the best, I think what I enjoyed most is being able to just set my own schedule and not have to answer to anyone. That is, I've always needed to be an entrepreneur. I'm not meant to work for people. And being able to learn on the job, and do different projects with different people and different teams. I think that's what I enjoy the most about being an illustrator.
Great.
And my journey.
So you're currently working on projects like Daddy Do My Hair.
Yes.
I find it very nice because growing up, for instance, you don't see it. My dad is Jamaican, by the way. So we are.
Oh, cool.
we have the culture like in similar. So I was bullied, because of my hair, because at the time in Mauritius, I didn't have friends that had like curly hair. So people would usually bully me. But when I saw the Daddy Do My Hair, I was like, you know what? That was a book I would love to have at that time because it's something like I have never seen before, you see, even in like cartoons and everything. So I think it's very, very important to have those types of books to remind us that, okay, it is something very important. Can you tell us more about it?
Okay, so Tola wrote that book and she self-published that, I think, in 2018. Don't quote me, I might be wrong. But she self-published that book and it got such an amazing reception that, because as you said, like it's usually the mum who does hair as well, and it's important to emphasize like taking care of your hair and letting other people understand the processes and everything like that. I was picked to do it for this new rendition, so it's been really fun. I actually can't wait for everyone to see it because I've just had the test images to see what the colors will look like, and it comes out next year on the 26th of May. Wow. So 2022. Does it feel like it's going to be 2022? It's really wholesome. It talks about like hair products and like dad figuring out his way with curly hair, and I just think it's I know it's aimed at Black people, but I think everyone will kind of relate because I'm sure there's other dads trying to do their kids' hair and like it's sticking out, so it's really sweet. I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Great. So what are one of your best like collaborations you did and things that are very close to your heart as an artist, as a Black illustrator?
My best collaborations. Well, that's difficult. I think I can't choose because all my books are my babies. So really difficult to choose. And because I've done them within a year, they're all my children at once. Like I've had 4 children in this year.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, because I've done like I think I've done this picture book that I've done. I'm trying to think what I can say that's public. This picture book that I've done for Daddy Do My Hair. I've done
I think.
I've done another book called My Big Mouth. I think that released beginning of this year roughly. And that's like for older kids. So that's a different sector to think about. So I can't compare the picture book and this. And then I've done collaborations with Knights of Books Trust, where I was like part of a collective of Black British illustrators, Black British illustrators, there was 10 of us and there was 10 writers, Black British writers. So that was an amazing collaboration. Dapo's book is an amazing collaboration because there's 18 of us within the book that he wrote, and that gave me massive imposter syndrome, but I'm so happy to be a part of it. But all my books, I can't
love everything.
I can't go here together.
You said something very interesting, the imposter syndrome. So as an artist, how do you deal with that? Or like having blocks, how do you deal with all of these feelings and everything?
How you take each day as it comes. Like, you just have to remind yourself that everyone else is on their own journey as well, and you're doing the best you can, and from there you just realize, like, I'm just doing what I need to do, and no one's complained, no one shouted at me like, oh, this is rubbish. No one said anything of the sort. So clearly it's working well. Art block, it's something you just have to give yourself inspiration. So I have, like, if I could turn the camera on, I have books and books that I go through if I'm really stuck. If not, I'll just go online and use things like Pinterest, and you'd be surprised how many illustrators use Pinterest to find inspiration. And I think that's what helps me. But yeah, the imposter syndrome is still there. It's still there. I have to remind myself, like, I've worked so hard, and I was trying to be an illustrator straight after uni, and I graduated in 2016. So I've been trying, and I'm here now, and I shouldn't see it as like, oh, I'm not as successful as these people, because it's been difficult to get to where I am now, and there's a lot of people behind me that are like, I would love to be where you are. So you have to remind yourself of where you are in your journey.
Yeah, be grateful for all your projects and everything.
Yeah,
great. I wanted to know, like, in the UK, how is it to be like a Black illustrator in the art community in the UK? Do you have like a community, or do you guys gather together? How is it? How do you celebrate the culture?
Well, like I said, it's only just beginning to become a thing where loads of Black and other colored, other people, POC people, trying to get in within the industry. So it's really, really new. But the thing is, you're the only Black face in the room when you're the illustrator. So that is the crux, where you're like, oh, I would like it to improve, but it's getting there slowly. It's about teaching kids from a young age that you can be, if you're not an illustrator, you could be a creative director, an art director, an editor, whatever else within the industry. So that will take some time, but we're starting from grassroots. There are communities. Myself and Dapo are in a group on Facebook where we talk to Black British illustrators, and we give advice when everyone gives advice on something, if they posted an image, and any guidance they need, and books and resources. I don't know about meetups because we haven't had a chance. Yeah, but I think it's a possibility soon. I think it would be I think it'd be really fun if we do. If there are people doing it at the moment, I don't know about it, so it might be left out. But yeah, I think I might have missed something else. Is there something else that I missed out? I can't remember.
Yeah, how do you guys celebrate the community? So by gathering together, and it is something that is like just starting, you said?
Yeah, it's just starting. I would say, I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's like slow progression, and everyone's so busy because the downside of this new diversity surgence is everyone wants your attention for staff, and it's not always great projects. Like, I've been offered projects about, I don't know if you know what teddy boys are.
No, never.
So they're like the racist white boys that were within the UK in the, I think, 50s and 60s and around that time, and I had to talk about, or they wanted me to illustrate like that violence, and I was like, hello. Can we step away from,
we need genuine representation, like
yeah, not let's step away from the trauma, and let's just have a kid having an adventure. That's what we want.
No, that's important to highlight the good things rather than always the bad things, you see. It's important. So we were talking about representation, how it matters. There's something about, the other day I was thinking about what was the character, what was a Black character, for instance, in Disney. And I saw, Tiana, the princess.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, she's Black for 5 minutes.
40 minutes. So it goes to show, like, we need some work in that area. We need like gender representation. What's your take on that? And what are the things we can do in order to, like, it's time to change?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting yourself into those doors and like getting yourself into those rooms to be represented, because really and truly, if I was a white person within that industry, you have to be an ally, and you have to do your due diligence and find these people, because they're out there. The people like to say that they can't find any people of color, but if you just go on Twitter and write one sentence, I'm sure you'll find millions. Yeah, so it's not about what we can do, because there's only so much we can show our talents and shout about how we can be represented in TV. There's also the other side needs to help as well.
Yeah.
So there's only, like I said, there's show your work, do your contents, do your due diligence, and show your work as much as possible so you are seen, and that helps. Do the work that you want to be hired for. So if you wanted to be a Disney character designer, then make work that Disney has to pay attention to. But yeah, I think that's enough. But it is one of those things that I identified with Mulan, because I was like, she's not white, she's someone else. And like Pocahontas, and in Hunchback of Notre Dame, Esmeralda, I was like, yeah.
The closest that she can be, it's like, I'm trying to find like, but no.
Something, yeah. It's important for kids.
Yeah, no, it's very, very important. And I think in an interview I saw on Instagram, you said that growing up, you were like coloring the Disney characters in brown because of the lack of representation. Like, thinking about it, it's sad. It's sad. Like,
it is sad, but it is what I had to do.
Exactly.
Because I remember, like, there was another in my class, because I went to a private school first and then I went to a public school. In my class, it was me and another Black girl, and there was it's a class of 15, and she told me off for drawing someone not white, and I was like, it's fine. And then I think, like, later down the line, I think a teacher also mentioned to my parents that they think I might be racist because I was drawing. It's funny to think about. It was because I was drawing people to look like me. I wanted to be the princess for once, you know.
So when like you do illustration for books, do you see yourself like doing illustration for films, or what are like your plans, the projects, the dreams that you have?
For films, like animating, I think eventually I want to do animation, but I have to put it in the universe. So I've now got to do it, right? So I would like to be in animation, but it is a far stretch from right now. What I would want to do closely would be character design for film, so that someone else animates it, because animation is hard. But I think that's my one of my end goals is to do that. If not, I write my own book and then someone illustrates it. Someone animates it for me on Netflix. That'd be great.
Great. So when you even like projects to collaborate on books, what's like the work process behind it? Because it's like you take an idea from the author and you try to have it on like in an illustration form. How is it? How is that process of like doing illustration for books?
Okay, well, I'll first start with, I usually get work from the publisher, and I often don't speak to the author, which is a weird rule because the author usually has an idea of what they probably want the story to look like. sometimes if I'm really stuck, I will ask them just without the publisher knowing, because if you like, I'm sure they don't mind if you actually have a conversation, but they like to have a disconnect so that you have your own creative process, is what I've been told. What I do, I get the text or at least a description, because my first book, I was just given descriptions and then I had to just do my own research and find it and illustrate it. But what it is, you get a description. Say you need a bubbly 7-year-old child that has messy hair, then you would develop their character in your own mind and using reference to create the character. And that's how I go about it, if that makes any sense. It's a science to create a written story into a visual story, because there's also other things besides the text, because you don't want to copy the text word for word. You want it you want the text to speak for itself and the image to speak for themselves, and in between the lines there's going to be other things in the background. Like, I'm sure you can see stuff in the background. I've got a Simpsons what's it called, slipper there. And, like, that's the kind of stuff that Illustrator adds to give more depth to the character, and that's what happens for my process. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people think of adding little Easter eggs in the background to develop the story and the character and everything.
Nice. And what if you have to choose one thing, what's the most interesting thing you love to do in the process? Is it the illustration? Is it the brainstorming process? Or is it like the end, like the overall, the ending product? So what's your favorite part?
I think I used to think it was coloring, but now it's not so much. I think because I've had so much work that I'm like, yeah, the coloring bit is long. But I like the idea generation. So once you like started figuring out how the image could flow in one way, and like where that the audience's eye has to follow the page to the next page turn and stuff like that. So I like the brainstorming bit. The inking and everything else, it's just the technical side of it, but I think you get to be more creative within the brainstorming. Yeah.
Great. What do you like in 10 years? What do you want people to think about your illustration? Like, what is the message or emotion you want to convey with your art?
God. Really
like, let's say your kid, like in 10 years, they would look at your drawing, and then what do you want them to think about it? Like, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just want people to, when they see my art, I just want people to be happy, because that is just, I think I try to exude that in all my art, like happy, energetic movement. Like, this is why I don't think I could do like sad books. I don't think I could do it. I could try, but I like to make everything like
it's a reflection of your personality. Very
right. I think that's probably what it is. And like I just want to exert everyone to enjoy the work and like just be happy.
Be happy. Now that's nice. I wanted to ask you something. Like you said, for instance, sometimes you can find yourself as the only Black people in the room. Have you experienced like some kind of racism in the industry? And no,
I personally haven't. I think if there's anything that comes across like slightly like in a text for whatever example, because this is an example. Someone, instead of saying like Afro hair, they just said black hair. And I had to readjust them to say black hair could just mean the color black. It doesn't actually mean a person black. I think that is the only, I mean, I haven't experienced any sort of racism with the teams. Every team I've worked with has been lovely. Yeah, I hope people aren't, but I wouldn't put it past the world we live in, to be honest.
Like the mentality is changing. You see that there's a progress.
Yeah, like everyone seems to want to learn. So if I mention something about I can't remember, if, for example, a skin tone being too orange, because that seems to be a thing in books where if they're drawing a lighter skinned black person, they just make them orange, like spray tan. So so it's trying to change it to make sure that people don't use that to represent lighter skinned black people or brown people, as an example. But yeah, people want to learn nowadays, especially after last summer. Everyone's like, okay, we need to be allies and understand like what we're doing when we're putting this work out there for kids to see.
Yeah, it's a responsibility. Like, and you said something, it is sensitive, I think, the skin tone, because within the Black community itself, we have like colorism and everything. So there's a lot to deal with when you're like an illustrator. You have to be like really cautious, because do you think sometimes you can be biased, like whenever you're drawing or doing illustrations?
I'm trying, for me, because I mean it's almost mute point now, but I would want to see more darker skinned children in books, and it's not about preference. It's just there's a significant amount of darker skinned children that probably like that are my age that probably got bullied for being darker skinned, and I don't want them to think, oh, no one looks like me. So that is, I personally would want to put darker skinned children in my books. I'm happy to do the rainbow. I'm completely happy to see the whole spectrum of different colors, but that is my main reason for if I ever put a dark skinned child in there. It's just there's the representation of them.
Yeah.
For when we were kids, I think, but now it's probably changing.
What would you say to your like little self, like years ago when you were trying to find like someone like you in books? What would you tell her now?
Do you know I just accepted that there's no black people, so I just think, oh, why is there no black? I was just like, yeah, there's no black people, that's it, I'm gonna have to be one of them. I just accepted it. So I think I'm weird in that respect, because I was like, yeah, there's no black people that do this, so I'm just gonna have to find my own way. It of course it's weird that no one else is doing what you're doing, and I would have loved to like meet myself and be like, yeah, you could do it, you're not gonna be broke. Like I think I would just say, just keep going. That's all you can do. You keep going, have determination to the discipline, to keep going, because there obviously was times where I was like, this thing is not going anywhere. No one's paying attention to me. No one's like listening to me. I would email agents and they would tell me that I'm not good enough for their roster at the moment. So I was just like, okay, great. Or I had no experience. And I'm like, someone give me experience, because how am I going to get experience with no experience?
Exactly. For 3 years experience, like hire me, I'll show you like my work.
It's like, so I graduated at 23, so I was like, I've literally just finished. How
No, that's
get
true.
any experience? But yeah.
And there's a like a misconception, like people say, okay, artists, like that's why you said like you're happy your mom like pushed you, because we have the conception of, okay, being an artist, like it's hard, the salary, like you said broke, like what can for like a kid who wants to become an artist and maybe on the verge of giving up, what would you tell them, like how to like put aside those misconceptions and like create your own path?
Does it bring you joy? Can you imagine yourself doing anything else? If you have options and you think, yeah, this might not be for me, then feel free to do the other thing. But if I can't do any other job. I cannot do any other job. I don't like working. I think because of the jobs that I had, I was a receptionist and office manager, so I don't think I could do those jobs again. If I have to, for whatever happens in life, you never know, touch wood. If I have to go back, I have to go back. Job's a job, but I would always find my way back to this. And if you don't have the passion and the drive and the discipline to keep going in your dream and make it happen, regardless of what anyone says, because if my mom said, oh, you're not doing art, have probably moved out and then done it on my own, and then just and use that determination, like, yeah, you said I can't do it, I could do it. So it's literally, you can do it. Like there's another side, and if you envision yourself in that position, you're already there. You're already there.
Yeah, that's true. But sometimes it's difficult when, as you said, you were like reaching to people like, see my art. And
yeah,
you know, when there's one person, at least one person said something positive about what you're doing, it's like the world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. And the thing is, I think, I'm wondering if this is a social media problem, but reach out to people, like talk to people. If you see someone, like if you see me, just ask me a question. Don't bombard me, please.
Like I will try
to get back. I will try to get back to you. But ask people, what do you think I can do to improve? Where do you think I can go? Just, I'm sure artists are like some of the nicest people that I know, and they understand the struggle. If they don't want to help you, then fine. If they're too busy to help you, it happens. They also have, there's loads of people who have FAQs to help because they've been bombarded, and like there's like, even me, I've got a schedule. I'm not finishing most of my work until April at this moment, and it keeps going on. So
April next year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm busy at least till April.
I will keep an eye on your work. Wow.
Right. So if I see a message and I don't respond straight away, doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. I just don't have time. But ask people, put questions out there, see if you can get some sort of advice, because finding a mentor, even if it's for one question, is the best thing that you can do to improve yourself and your career.
Yeah. And your relationship with rejection, I think it goes with it, like rejection. How can you say to a kid, don't worry, you'll be rejected, but like when you fall,
that's hard to explain to a child. I mean, if you know anyone who's an actor, they get it all the time. So it's that's the closest career path I can relate it to, that everyone sort of understands, because you have to audition until one person's like, yeah, maybe, yeah, you should, you could be the backhand like person sweeping. Yeah, so you eventually get there. I personally don't think anyone should do any work for free.
Yeah,
people would disagree with me, but I refused all the work that was for free. I just literally was like, I'm not doing it. I'll wait longer to get where I want to be, because my time is money.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to tell a child you're gonna have to face like loads of rejection, but that also makes you tougher. So if you get through that, you can get through anything.
Yeah, you can do anything.
Yeah.
When did you start? Like when did you say, okay, I'm Chanté, so I want to be an illustrator? Like at what age?
Okay, so I didn't know what the word illustration was in college. So I'm going to say about 16, 17. I didn't know what that was. And but the thing is, I've always said to my mum, oh, I'm going to be a cartoonist.
A cartoonist? Is that the word?
So when I was, I think my mum said I was 5, because I used to watch cartoons so much, and I'd be enamored, like just watching how different cartoons are made and stuff. And I was like, this is so cool, I want to do this. And I was like, Mum, what job does this? How do you get to do this? And she said, you have to be a cartoonist. And she was like, oh, but it's not. She said, oh, you kind of go out of that phase. And I think a lot of my family to this day kind of thinks I was gonna like fall off the art and try and get a real job, right? So I found out about cartoonists when I was 5, and I was like, I'm gonna be a cartoonist, and I haven't stopped saying that. I didn't stop saying it until my mom was like, okay, if you really want to do this art thing, I know about graphic designers, that most people know what a graphic designer is. So it's a good starting off point, but it wasn't for me in the end. But she encouraged me to look up what a graphic designer does, understanding that they're still creative. But I didn't know I wanted to do children's book until 2018. didn't realize that this is what I wanted to do until I actually got a chance to do it, because someone took my name up off a art directory that I put on, and said, oh, we like your work, can you make a whole book for us? So
Wow.
but yeah, I can't think of a time where I didn't want to be an illustrator. But yeah, I just, as I said, I found out what it was in college, and then I was like, okay, graphics and illustration, so I'm safe, so that I can maybe be a graphic designer and do this illustration thing, whatever it is.
Okay, you can do both. It's like,
Yeah,
okay.
I understand graphic design. Don't ask me to do type just yet, because I need to improve. But I understand that, like, how to lay out things and like ratios. I think that helped me for a lot of stuff, but it's not like everybody needs to do graphic design. Like, you can learn this on YouTube now. That YouTube is the university that everyone needs.
No, that's resources.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think hope that answered all your
It's like
question.
illustration comes more natural to you. It's more like instinctive.
Yeah. I like telling a story through my work, and that's basically what being creative is. Being an illustrator is just, you're just visually telling a story, regardless if it's a still image, if it's a whole book, if it's an animation. You're depicting an idea within an image, and that's what I want to do. Graphic design is making logos and like brochures and websites, and I just, it's not for me. There's more to it, obviously,
Yeah.
but that's not for me.
Something very interesting you said is like, I am an artist and I want to get paid for what I do. I think it is something very important to highlight, because nowadays we have creators on social media everywhere. So there's like a bunch of creators, and it's good to put like your boundaries, to know your worth, so that people respect your art. So tell us more about it, like how you, as an artist, you put your boundaries and you set the tone. Like you say, okay, I want this, I want that, but you know, like in a nice way. How do you say,
To the public?
Yeah,
to the public or clients?
To the clients, how do you tell your wants?
I mean, what tends to happen, and this is a massive problem within, I'm going to say just publishing, because I don't know about the other industries, but people want you to do work like tomorrow. Oh, can you do that tomorrow? No. I cannot. Like, can you write a whole 2, 3, 4-page essay tomorrow? You could, because I'm sure there's students out there that have done it, but you've not slept to do that. So why should I force myself to work out of office hours that you have, because you have your own office hours? Why should I work past that into midnight to get this done for you? Yeah, so that is one of my boundaries, where this is the time that it will get me to do stuff, like that I can actually illustrate for you, but to shorten it to fit your schedule is unfair to me and my own mental health and physical health, trying to get work done. So that is a major boundary that I set with clients, because I treat my job like a 9 to 5. So I start at 9 and I'll finish at 5, and I'm going to rest and I'm going to eat and I'm going to chill for the rest of the night, because I don't want to work on the weekends, because none of my friends work on the weekend. So why would I work on the weekend? It's only I can't think of a good reason why I would be working on the weekend, because we would have spoken about the reason why I'm not working on the weekend. The only time I actually ever had to do this where I couldn't set boundaries, because I was working a full-time job, so I had to do the extra hours and stuff like that. And I've had my time burnt out working like till 2 o'clock, and then having to wake up at 6 because I've got to go work the next day, and then working on the weekends and trying to see for it. I'm not trying to do that anymore. So this is my 9 to 5. These are the hours. Yeah, that's basically my main gripe with illustration, because I can work relatively fast, but I've also got other things that I've got to do, and the time that I have for everything I've had to allocate and like put boundaries like up to make sure I can eat in the day. so I can eat lunch because I don't want to work the whole entire day. So yeah, that's my main boundary. Other than that, I can't think of much else.
Yeah, I think when it comes to creative people or artists, people think we are like fairies. We can do anything. It's like, oh, illustration, like it's quick, so you can do it like
it's easy. No.
We have to break like those misconceptions, because it's like, even for writers, it's like, oh, you can write something quick. No.
Yeah, and no.
We need time.
Because it's like, I always say this with retail jobs, because if you've ever worked a retail job or a customer service job and someone's a bit of a, I don't want to swear here, but like on to you, and you're like, I'm a human being, like how do you not understand how you're speaking to me is out of order? Everybody should have a chance to be in retail jobs or customer service, so they don't talk to people like poop. So if people could put themselves in my shoes and understand, because when I say to people like, I have set hours, if I need to put my out of office hour on, I'm gonna do it. Like you're allowed your holiday, you're allowed your time frame. It's the same thing. And I think people just, it's not easy to just, I can't be like, boop, colored it. I wish. You know how easy like I would take on so much work if that was the case. Just 20 books done. I would love that. Paid.
And what do you do for your mental health? Because it can be like a strain, you know, working, as you said, you're working for, I think, for April next year. So it demands like for you to take care of yourself, of your mental health, your physique. So how do you cater for you?
So what I started doing, I go to the gym. I wake up, I go to the gym. It's the time of the day. Just it started my routine. I go to the gym, just work out, and just it's like, it's starting to be, I'm becoming a gym rat. It's weird because I'm so lazy. If you know me, I'm so lazy. It's becoming almost meditation, because you've got to count and everything, and like rest and count again, and you're doing progressive overload, if you know what that is, and like that kind of terminology. I think that exercise, and I never thought I'd say that, I think exercise is like my main thing that helps my mental health, because the last 2 weeks I've been ill. Like I had like sniffles, I didn't have anything else, but I didn't want to overwork myself when I had a cold. And now I noticed the difference, where I just be like, I don't want to do any I don't want to do any work right now. I don't have any motivation to think of an idea of what this, for example, a character should look like. I was just like, oh. So I went to the gym today and I was like,
so like you get inspired.
Yeah, you get inspired by doing something other than staring at your screen. And if I wasn't going to the gym for whatever reason, I would probably go for a walk, just so you're away from your desk, away from the area, because this is my bedroom and my desk. So this space could be like,
like, you know, I want my bed.
Yeah, it's like, look, I could just go to sleep, which is a dangerous trap. But yeah, I think for mental health is incredibly important, and like I said, setting the boundaries of having office hours, because if I work until the end of time, when do I get to relax and relax into going to sleep? And then I get bad sleep, and then it affects my work, and it's a vicious cycle. So yeah.
So has your own boss, how, you know, being your own boss, as you said, you're on your front desk alone. So what was the transition from, you know, having a boss at work and now working for yourself, being like an entrepreneur? What would you say is the most valuable lessons you've learned, like working for yourself, like scheduling your time, dealing with procrastination, maybe being alone with yourself? So what is the biggest takeaway?
I mean, routine, having some form of a routine. Like in the first few months, I would just wake up whenever I felt like it, just start working. So me saying, as I keep saying it because it really did help me, having that, right, you're gonna go to the gym, you're gonna come back, it's gonna be 9 o'clock when you come back, you're dressed and showered, right, we're gonna start, answer emails for an hour if you need be, then you start the first task, then you have a little break for 5 minutes, maybe walk around the house, stretch your legs, come back. Like for me, having the structure, because I had to work from home through COVID, so having that helped me with my business, weirdly enough. Like if I didn't do, I think it would have been way harder to work from home if I hadn't experienced the pandemic, quite honestly, because that taught me I need to be away from this area. I can't sit down every single day and like do this. So I have to set myself tasks each week, like of things I want to finish, and I have to be reasonable, because I'm like, I'm gonna do 20 things in one day, and I end up doing one because it's a massive task. So I'm trying to like do too much at once. So I set myself like at least 3 things a week, because they tend to be big things, like design a character. That doesn't happen in a day, even if it doesn't even happen in a week, because all week last week I was like, I need to think of this character. like doing research and stuff. So as an example, and it's just like I said, routine is the best thing that I could have done to help myself like structure my day, because I would just not eat, not drink any water, just work until I'm tired, and then just fall into bed, which is, I think, is unhealthy for me. And I'm sure there's people out there that do that, and it's just it gets to you, and like, no one wants that. Yeah, no one wants to go through that, and if I can avoid it, then I'm trying to sort myself out to avoid it. Yeah.
Is there someone like you look up to, is like your role model? It's like whenever you feel down, you say, okay, if that person is doing it, I can do that.
It's Dapo. It's Dapo. Dapo is he's my role model. He might blush if I ever said that to him, but yeah, he's my role model.
In what ways does he inspire you?
It just inspires me, because the passion and the drive and the need to improve the industry and everything else, it just makes me want to do the same. And when I can, I try. I think my me setting boundaries for like the time that I'm here, I constantly work, so I rarely look at social media to interact with everyone, so I try. but I'm not great at it, and I want to improve. But yeah, that the drive to do great projects and not take any poop from anyone. When they want to mess around with like contracts and scheduling and all that stuff, it's something I aspire to, and it's good to have a mentor to look forward to be like, I want to do what you're doing.
What was the best advice you got from him?
Don't take in crap. Literally, like you're part of the team. Yeah, you know your worth, you're part of the team, your voice matters, and don't let anyone push you around, basically, because it can happen. Like, obviously the publishing industry is a really, like, if you ever work with a team, everyone's super nice, super understanding, but obviously they're a massive company and you're by yourself. So if the company in the sales team was like, we need this done by tomorrow, and you're like, I physically can't do that, then you have to be like, listen guys, we're gonna have to work something out, because that's not happening, as an example. So yeah,
that's great. I think
that's my main. Yeah.
No, finish.
No, that's it. That's my main thing. That's it.
No, that's very interesting. Like I would never know about that word. So I'm very, very happy we had that little chat. It was very, very interesting to have like an insight.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. So tell people where they can find your work, what's to come next for you, where they can have a chat with you, but not bombard you with questions.
Please. So I wish I had like, I wish I could be like, it's Hey Chanté everywhere. I wish I could say that, but I didn't realize until recently that my name is quite popular. I did not know that. So on Instagram, it's hey.chante, so CHANTE. Twitter, I think it's say hey Chanté. So
I will have it on the screen, so no worries.
And then my website is heychante.co.uk or com, whatever's easier. And you could just message me on Instagram or Twitter or wherever. If you have questions and you're not sure how to get any further in your career, I could try and help. Like I said, I've only done it for a year, so I could only give you a little bit of advice on what I would do. But yeah, that's where you find me.
And if people want to work with you, what they have to do? They come directly through like your...
It depends on the project, because if it's any book deals, unfortunately, I'm not doing any self-published books at the moment because it's quite difficult to manage that. If it is a book deal that is a fantastic self-published book, then maybe I can consider it. But it has to go through my agent, and her name is Lydia. I'll give you her email if you need.
Yeah.
And anything other than that, you can just email me. You can just message me through my website on contacts and just send me an inquiry, and I will try and see if I can fit you in if it's a great project. But I'd love to help as much as possible. Diversity is not the only thing that I want to do. I like science and learning things. So do you have any sciencey cool things?
No,
space,
I saw
else?
on Instagram. You said if I was not like an illustrator, I would have
been a scientist.
What do you like about science?
I don't know. It's just cool. It's just cool. Like there's so much we don't know as well, and then you get to discover new things because there's no new idea under the sun, and that's the only new thing that we as humans can find is science. I mean, we've not even like conquered the sea, so we don't even know what's beneath us to find out. And that's why I think that's probably why I'm literally, and one thing about art, I didn't say this, one thing about my career path, I didn't realize how much you learn on the job, and it's like coursework. So if you do coursework, it's just the same. So I would have wanted to do like chemistry. I would have probably been like a pharmacist or something.
Nice. Yeah. Maybe we never know in the future.
Yeah, maybe you might say, future.
Okay, I'm taking a break now. I'll be like a scientist.
Or I'm gonna explore space. That would be sick.
Yeah, that would be amazing. People do like trips in the space. I'm like, when will I be able to do that?
I know, I'm like, I would love to do that, but the carbon footprint.
Exactly. Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
So beside illustration, you have other passions that you do?
I want to develop one. I don't have one at the moment. I think that, like I said, gym is like the only one that is starting, because I'm like starting to bring a notebook and be like, this is what I did last week.
Journaling, do you do journaling?
Sorry?
Journaling, journaling.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see like I'm trying to journal to see like what part, how many reps I can do of one thing, and like see if I can improve it next week. I'm getting really into it, which I never expected. But I think because I'm doing my passion, I think it is important as an illustrator to figure out if you have anything else, because it's become your job and you don't want to get sick of your job. So you need to have something else that no one else needs to see as a passion project thing.
Yeah. How is it different? Like doing illustration as a kid when you did it for like passion, and now it's like your passion, but you're being paid for it. What is the main difference, you would say?
when you're a kid, you're just like, I'm gonna draw stars and I'm gonna draw the cat flying through the stars. The sky is limited. Yeah, there's no limit. Sorry, there's no limit of what you can think of, and you don't even care about your skill level. But as soon as you like start becoming aware, that you're like, oh, okay, this doesn't look like a cat. These don't look like stars. What is this? It's like, oh, and then now you're getting paid to make something look like something. Now you're like, okay, it doesn't look like this. I have to be perfect. For me, I don't know. I really hope I'm not alone. But yeah, as I got older, I got more of a perfectionist with whatever I'm drawing, and it's harder to be freer with me now. Yeah.
What would be your last word to people that are listening to you? Like anything. It can be anything.
Last word. Mental health is incredibly important, and do what you can to nurture yourself. Don't always do stuff for other people. Do something for you so that you can help and be a joy to anyone else. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for your time, Chanté. I'm very grateful. And I think it's one of the best interviews I've had with anyone because it was so smooth, nice. Your personality is amazing. And I hope we'll be able to have a chat again. I don't know when you will have your book.
Yeah, when it comes out, 26th May.